It's Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. here in Singapore, and you're watching The Big Story, where we will discuss the hottest topics of the day and explain why they matter. I'm Haryanto Diman, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. Employers beware, firms now face stiffer penalties if they are caught falsifying applications to hire foreigners over Singaporeans. This comes after changes to the Fair Consideration Framework, which was announced by Manpower Minister Josephine Teo today. The Ministry of Manpower has raised penalties across the board. The penalties include an extension to the minimum period of work pass debarment from 6 months to 12 months. For more serious cases, the debarment period can be up to a maximum of 24 months. Debarment will be expanded to include work pass renewals on top of new work pass applications. Employers could also face imprisonment of up to 2 years or fines of up to $20,000 or both if convicted of false declarations that they have considered all candidates fairly. To share more on this, we have journalist Choo Yun Ting with us. Welcome, Yun Ting. Yun Ting, why does the government feel the need to impose stiffer penalties now?
Right, so with the Fair Consideration Framework, so it was first introduced in 2014, right, and so this is the first major updates to the framework. So, but even before that, MOM launched like tripartite guidelines on non-discriminatory practices, job adverts, employment practices. So, and between 2014 to 2018, MOM has penalized employers in about 280 cases. So for discriminatory hiring practices, and of these, about half of them are nationality related. So over the years, even though there has been progress in terms of fairer employment practices among companies, there are still some employers that have failed to adapt. There's still issues that plague it. So with these stiffer penalties, what they're trying to do is really to added deterrence and to really stamp out these discriminatory practices in the industry.
Right. So you mentioned more than 300 cases.
No, about 280 cases.
About 280 cases. Yeah. Could you share any examples of such companies that try to game the system, as it were?
Right. So those stats are for like 2014 to 2018. But some recent examples, so there have been about 5 companies that have been slapped with the stiffer penalties, which took effect this month. So one of them is actually TI2 Logistics, which was charged in court earlier today. So they were charged for false declaration on fair consideration. So it's the first company to be charged in court, right? So the company said that it considered local applicants fairly for this business development manager role, but so it did not. And it interviewed 2 Singapore citizens for the job, and it said that it considered local applicants, but in the end, it applied for a work pass for Mr. Choo Yun Ting.
Right.
So for companies like TI2 Logistics, which are convicted of false declaration under fair consideration, under this Employment of Foreign Manpower Act, they can be jailed for up to 2 years, fined up to 20,000 or both. And there's also another case of an employment agency. It's called Meow Services. So it placed a discriminatory job advert. So it said that it was looking for male applicants.
Right.
Okay.
So they were also subject to stiffer penalties as well.
So they must like for 12-month debarment.
Right. Now, Yun Ting, you spoke to some experts about how the stiffer penalties for the Fair Consideration Framework will be a deterrent, right? And possible impact on debarred firms as well. What did they say?
So for companies, so the major thing that experts actually highlighted was, beyond just extending this debarment period from 6 months to 12 months, it's also about companies not being able to renew existing work passes. So say for a company that has been slapped with a debarment period of 12 months, so maybe say a third to half of their existing foreign workforce they can't employ new foreign workers, and they can't renew the work passes for about a third to half of their workforce. So this means they have to hire locals. This might mean costs going up, and say for some companies, if say they can't hire, then they might be forced to shut down.
Well, thank you so much, Yun Ting, for coming on to the show to tell us more about this. Now, to read Yun Ting's stories, you can check it out on our website, straitstimes.com.